And then on a little bit more of a serious note, I think sometimes we get lost. We think that we've made a lot of advancements socially, and every time we think that we've made some advancement, something kind of shows us that maybe we're not as forward thinking as we thought. But I did see that Sam Morsy chose not to wear the rainbow captain's armband. I guess in I don't want to say in protest, but he was citing religious reasons for not wearing the armband. And I think it always comes down to those things where it's like, one, you shift the conversation in a way that it doesn't need to be shifted because they don't have anything to do with each other. Okay? Here's what I mean. When there was when the teams were doing the Black Lives Matter protests, right? And people were saying, well, all lives matter. Who's saying that? It's people that don't understand that black people are saying, hey, our lives have shown, through society have shown that they don't matter. And we are here to say that they do. And their allies are here to say that they do. And for you to say that, well, what about all lives matter? It is completely, you're changing the game, right? No one's saying that all lives don't matter or that black lives matter more. People are saying that black lives matter as well, right? And so you shift that narrative into something that it doesn't really need. And that's the same thing that's going on with the LGBTQ armband, which honestly, I didn't even know that it was. And then it's stuff like this that happens that, it makes you realize, like, really, we're still doing this? Okay. Like, we're still protesting this. And it's the same thing with religious practices, right? Where it's like LGBTQ people are saying we exist and we deserve the same dignity and equality that everyone else does. And other people are saying that it goes against their religion. And it just shifts that narrative to now they make the topic of conversation that, whereas instead it's like, hey, all we're asking for, LGBTQ plus people, all we're asking for is the same level of awareness and dignity and respect. And you're over here shifting it to something that is completely different, right? Because immediately the response from everybody that was defending him, right? Because I think, again, he didn't wear the armband. And so people are like, wow, you're kind of a dick, right? For not wearing the armband. And everybody that defends him that I've seen so far has been that, well, you preach tolerance until, I'm bringing up my religion. Yeah, nobody's talking about that, right? Like, nobody's talking about that. And Mark Guehi also had a similar thing where he wrote, I love Jesus on his armband. And again, it just shifts the situation into one where it's like, yeah, nobody's saying you shouldn't love Jesus. Nobody's saying go against that. Nobody's saying that you shouldn't, or that, or that we're going against that. But I think that people, especially Muslim people, here or elsewhere in the United States or in Britain or wherever, should know that, listen, that we stand up for minorities because eventually your number's going to get called, right? Especially in what I feel is the Israel-Palestine situation, right? Where it doesn't get the coverage like it should. Is that because they're Muslim? Is that because they're Middle Eastern? I don't know. But I think objectively one can say, what Israel has been doing to Palestine forever has been horrible, right? And all everyone else has been saying is Palestine deserve not to be genocided, obviously, but to be seen, to get correct coverage, and for them not to be mistreated. LGBTQ people are saying the same thing. Again, obviously, I'm not comparing the situations. That's totally different, and that's very active, and that's what's happening now. But again, you do these things to establish tolerance, to establish being seen, to establish that other people exist and that they have maybe not been treated correctly, they've looked down upon, they've been scapegoated, they've been XYZ. And so we want really to be on equal footing of respect. That and I don't see why you would go against that. Again, as somebody that maybe not right now, but your number's going to get called at some point, right? If you allow that. If you allowed the backsliding or you let people get away with disrespecting, right? Like, and it's always funny to see, like people that follow, if we're being honest, like people that follow Donald Trump, right? If you're not white, you're not going to be in, because it's always rules for us or rules for you, but not for us, right? If you're not rich, if you're not white, those rules don't apply to them. They apply to you. And I think you see it in like Latinos for Trump. You see where I think it was Blacks for Trump or something supporter got beat up at a rally. It's like you're not them. You can cozy up to them. You can kiss up to them. They'll accept you as one of the good ones, right? But you're not one of them. And so I think you should always be sensitive to everyone should have equal footing, right? Everyone should be even. Nobody's special. Nobody is above anyone else. I'm not religious. I think that Muslim people and the religion has been scapegoated a lot, right, in this country. I think African American lives, Black lives have not mattered to a degree which is acceptable, right? I think LGBTQ people have experienced different kinds of scapegoating, different kinds of aggression, different kinds of stuff. Yeah, you don't have to be a part of the group to see that, but at the same time, like, what that's like. And you should be able to see that, and you shouldn't want another group to experience that. You should want, and obviously I think that it was the goal in the United States, you should want everybody to just be equal. And I know it's a very, very nuanced conversation, right? It always is. It always will be. It's always going to be a thing. But I just think that we should all strive to treat everybody with respect and to make sure that everyone gets the recognition that they deserve, and that nobody is allowed to be mistreated as long as it's not my group. Because if you allow other people to get mistreated, eventually the latter will come for you, right? And I think sometimes people don't see that, and I think it's sad, but hopefully he sees that. Again, I'm not saying that he should abandon his religion, that practicing Muslim is bad, or whatever the case might be. But I think that, to a certain degree, when you agree to live in a society, to do what you do, to get paid absurd amounts of money, you compromise your morals a bit at the workplace, and then you come home and you do your thing, right? The only reason I say that is because, and people have pointed it out, and I was going to show it here. Never had an issue wearing gambling sponsors, though, have you? Gambling is against the Muslim religion, right? Your other teammates eat pork, right? Your other teammates do things that go against your religion, but you allow that. But that's not a problem for you. And when you do stuff like this, you're saying, this is where I draw the line. LGBTQ plus is where I draw the line. No more. I'm not doing that. And I think that's sad. Again, I think that's sad, and I think that people have the right to criticize and to be aggrieved, and to call him out. And again, this isn't about his religion specifically. This is about people looking for recognition, people looking for respect, people saying, okay, the Premier League is acknowledging the LGBTQ plus community, and you're saying no. I think that's sad. And again, there's some funny stuff. And again, I think, right here as well, I think this is a shame on the Mark Guehi situation. He will not face charges for writing "I love Jesus" on his rainbow-colored captain's armband, despite it being a breach of its rules. So the slightest bit of pushback, and the FA completely fold. And I think that's a shame. Honestly, I think that's a shame. Again, not because it's like against Christianity, not because it's against Muslim, the Muslim religion, not because of any of that, but because you're being disrespectful purposely. Thank you. You're being purposely disrespectful to people that are saying, hey, I exist and I deserve, respect and acknowledgement, and you're saying you don't, though. So I think that's like the best way I can sum it up. That's probably the best way I can sum it up. You must congratulate Mark Guehi and Sam Morsy for making this all about themselves. A campaign that most people probably paid no mind to is now subject to mountains of abuse, which again is terrible, all because they were too proud to simply sit this one out or hand their captaincy to a teammate for one game. Yeah, that's another option. I mean, I think that that's a great point too, that there is so many ways that you could have absolutely just avoided that but not made a show of it. and they made a show of it, and they made sure that people knew, like, yeah, it's because I don't respect the LGBTQ plus community. It's because I don't, acknowledge them. It's because I don't think that they deserve respect, frankly. I mean, there's no other way to read that. There is absolutely no other way to read that. Somebody gets in a car crash, I don't go up to them and be like, yeah, I fucking stubbed my toe, so what? I don't do that. There's just places and time for shit, and there's just, things that you don't do. There's an occasion for shit. There's, if the players wanted to band together and create, or allow a week of religion, where they celebrate other people's religion, that's great. Go for it. Nobody would be against it. Nobody is saying, get that Jesus stuff out of here. They're just saying, we haven't allowed it for anyone, so we're not going to do it. And like I said, you're just making a show of it, and you're being purposely disrespectful to a group of people that, again, I don't want to backslide, but we have allowed to be disrespected, right? And so that's all I'm going to say. But, you let me know. I feel like it's probably long as shit anyway. I feel like, I kind of make myself clear, and I would be remiss if I didn't take the time to at least say that, and, just stand for something. I think, you don't have to be gay to stand up, or in the LGBTQ community to stand with them. You don't have to be black. You don't have to be African American. You don't have to be anything to stand for Black Lives Matter. You don't have to be Muslim to be appalled by what's going on in the Gaza Israel situation, right? And acknowledge that it's a genocide what's going on over there. Like, you can have empathy. You can look at a situation and say, boy, that's not great, instead of looking at a situation and saying, how do I make this about me? How do I make this aggrievement about me? Right? Like, that's why it's annoying, and everybody does it. A lot of people do it. A lot of people that are nutty and out there do that, and you would call it out, whoever does it. And so it's just, again, there's a time and a place for stuff, and I wish and hope that Mark Guehi and Sam Morsy do better, and that they're able to see that and correctly assess that, like, this is an attack on your religion. This has nothing to do with your religion. You're just being a dick, like, you're just being an asshole. Like, there's no other way to say it. There's no other way to say it. But, let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about that whole situation. Like I said, I think people that are going to defend them, are just going to defend them, and people that aren't are just not going to. So it's okay for the Premier League to make political statements, but the players can't. So you can promote woke ideology, but not Jesus shambles. Yeah, again, see, that's what I'm saying, is like, people are able to just turn it into their own personal aggrievement. Like this, if we accept that framing, because watch, what happens is you say, this isn't about your, dumb religion. And then, oh, see, there it is, oh, you're making it about, you think my religion's dumb. Oh, yeah, this, that. It's always okay to attack Christians, but not, and it always turns into that. And so that's what I'm saying. Don't change the framing of the situation, right? Don't allow the frame of the situation to be changed. You're saying, hey, LGBTQ people deserve to have respect, and they're trying to shift it. So that's what I'm saying. I hope I made it as clear as possible that is not what we're doing. And Yeah. Again, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see how people respond.